All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of Josh Talks. And on this week's episode, we got none other than D Money. So, welcome, D Money. Thank you for
What's
being on
up?
the show. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
What's new? I know you've been busy the past few days or so, right? A lot going on.
Quite a bit going on between, my shows on Sunday and
Hmm.
Tuesday and Thursday that I do. I recently just got a job in security, so
Nice.
I gotta get that going as well.
When did that start already, or
No, actually, I'm just waiting on a call later today to get my orientation done.
there you go.
So
Keep it going, keep financing the dreams.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been about 6 months since I've been out of work, so it's
Really?
nice. Yeah, it's been tough.
What was going on? Or did you like get an injury or something, or?
No, I was what's the term? The term is I was wrongfully terminated.
Oh. So you figure
And,
all
and
that out.
it yeah, well, my mouth gets me in trouble sometimes, but this time it got me in trouble outside of work
Okay.
and I was let go because it happened outside of work, but
Had nothing to
you
do
know,
with work,
no,
not work hours at all.
not in work hours, not in uniform,
Wow.
had absolutely nothing to do with it.
So did you win that case or did you even make a case or what's the deal? 6 months?
Uh, no, so basically, I went on employment insurance,
Okay.
and the government, they did their investigation, and they were like, "Hey, yeah, you were wrongfully terminated." So,
Well, that's dope.
I got some sort of income to pay the bills and everything, but
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
barely get by.
Yeah, right. And you're in Canada, right?
I am, yes,
Yeah. So good
up
old
in Alberta.
Justin Trudeau took care of you. Is it still Trudeau? I don't even know.
It is. It
Yeah.
is Trudeau. Yeah,
Okay. Took care
I
of
don't
you.
really follow politics that much, but yeah,
Yeah,
I at
exactly.
least know the prime minister.
Right. Yeah, I always get confused if it's I figure it's not president, but it just feels like he's the president, right? But
Yeah,
anyways,
just different terms.
that's good, man. Well, I'm glad that you were getting something at least for 6 months and keeping it going because that's probably as long as I've known you when you hit me up for that future was probably roughly that long ago.
Yeah, yeah, it was about January.
Yeah, so about four
Because
months.
I was fired on Boxing Day, and
Really?
yeah,
Which day
I
after
woke up to an
Christmas?
email and sorry, go ahead.
That's the day after Christmas, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You woke up to
So
an email. They did it over email.
did it over email. Like the everything was closed on the previous Friday for the holidays, and yeah, I got up Tuesday expecting to be like having to do some sort of talk or whatever,
Right.
but no, just woke up to an email said, "Yeah, thanks for playing. We'll
Wow.
see you later."
And then what did it take a few months to like start getting your checks and stuff or
No, no, no. So in Canada, we have labor laws that
oh,
help
okay,
us.
cool.
So companies have 2 weeks uh, to get you paid up and
Wow.
everything from the time you're terminated or let go or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, well, that's good. There you go. Better
Yeah.
than nothing, right? So,
Well, you know what? It was. I think it was time for me,
mhm.
and it definitely propelled me to do get right back into music because before
Right.
that I had walked away for like 10 years.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. From the 2000 to 2010, that's when I was really into hip hop, trying to get
It,
uh,
yeah.
trying to get it and everything. And then a group I was in imploded, and I just walked away from it all.
Okay. Dang. 10
And,
years.
and a lot of that had to do with my alcoholism as well.
Oh, okay.
So it
Okay.
I don't know where you want me to start. I guess I'm just
Oh
jumping
yeah. I
around
mean, go. If you
here.
want to start from there, it's a good starting. I mean, it's part of the story I don't know about. I was under the impression that you've just been doing this for a long time, consistency or consistently because of how
No,
much love you get in the community. So, but I see
no.
you getting a lot of love too. So,
Yeah, well, I think this job or getting axed from this job really helps
mhm.
go, what do I want to do? I'm in my 40s now. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
What am I doing with the rest of my life? Am I going job to job?
Mhm.
And I really want music in my life.
Mhm.
And I had been pushing it on and off, wasn't really feeling it. And then this past January, my dad had a stroke.
Okay.
So I had gone to Toronto for a few weeks, and that's hung out with him. And then it really made me think, like, here's a guy who's almost 70, has a stroke, who's been alcoholic since he was 16, hasn't not taken a day off from drinking, and there he is rehabbing, walking. Is actually was one of the model patients.
Really? That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, and seeing him, get go from having a stroke in November to be discharged and fully walking with mobility by February was like, wow.
That's awesome.
So I got to put my butt in gear if he's if he's able to do that. I need to start pushing myself with
Right.
music,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then yeah, I started making beats again on Reason, and that's when I started figuring out Twitter. Like, how do I use it to my advantage
Okay.
and start pushing my music rather than just what I now know is just spamming posts of, hey, check out my music. And that's all I did for like 2 months.
Oh, really? Oh, like back
Yeah.
in
So
January?
from like when I joined back on Twitter in October last year,
Okay.
for like 2 months, that's all I was doing. It was like, hey, check out my tunes from like 20 years ago
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
that I was posting,
Mhm.
which got me back into music.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting because I feel like a lot of people that I've noticed and paid attention to for like the last 6 months or so really started getting their start in the community around that time too. Like Maddie and
Right.
I don't know why I'm forgetting his name right now. I see Uggy and all of them. Like they all seem to really like be getting pushed, at least to me, and me seeing their content and all their numbers going up and everything back then. Not sure if the Discord started popping off back then or not, but you're in there, right? I'm pretty sure.
I'm not as frequent as I should be.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm in
I'm
them.
horrible.
I don't really use Discord. I just wanted to be, join and see what was up. But yeah, it seems like that's when a lot of people really started popping off. So that's cool. So you figured it out quick. The whole spamming links doesn't work.
Yeah, and I think it really dug into my brain on Super Bowl day when Augie
Oh,
was like,
really?
I saw a tweet from Augie and I didn't really know him,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, like I do now, but it was something like, hey, it's a Super Bowl day in the States, so get on the hashtag or whatever.
Right, right.
So that's all I did for like every hour. I was putting up posts like every 20 minutes.
Yeah. With the Super Bowl hashtag?
Yeah. Yeah. And I was tagging like Taylor Swift and her man and just trying to like broaden everything. And that was just after actually we had worked on those on that
Yeah.
song.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today for the interview about the feature and what the song sounded like. I still, it's a good song. I mean, good
Yeah.
content. I liked it and I appreciated that because that doesn't happen too often where somebody just approaches you like, straight up like, hey, what's your rate? Okay, great, sounds good. Here you go, and just goes
Well, I
from there.
have to say, what caught my eye and draw me towards your content was actually a little snippet of Eternal you did. It was just a bright neon orange or hunting orange jacket. I was like, what is this? Let's check this out.
Right? That was the goal, I guess, subconsciously. Like I just put on what I wanted to put on, but yeah, I didn't think like this is gonna draw eyes, as much as I
Right.
think it does, but I just wanted to wear it. Well, that's cool, man. Thanks for that. I didn't know it was that got you interested, but that was up for a minute, so it makes sense.
For
Yeah.
sure. And I think that's when I was really starting to get online more and be more
Yeah,
interactive.
notice more people and interact with more because you do that really well. You're definitely in a lot of people's comments, which I think is really important and not talked about enough. Like in a lot of my consultations, I'll tell people like get in the community, show them how much you care, how much you want to be a part of it, support them, and then in turn, some people will be supporting you. It's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And then you do your 3 events every week, which is super cool and super supportive. So
It is, and I didn't realize how much work it was.
it's so much work.
I
That's why I
honestly,
never have.
I put so much flat growing up on like a radio DJs or any type of DJ. It's like you just
Yeah.
press shuffle. How hard is it? Well,
Yeah.
no, there's a lot more that goes into this stuff, and
Yeah.
my
The
ignorance was like blown out of the water.
the dynamics,
Oh, it's,
the back end to make sure everything works properly. And especially if you want to do it like with this next podcast I'm going to be doing here in person, right? Running live audio, mixing all of that into the video. Like it's just all more stuff to think about than just, a Zoom call, which is great that we can do
yeah,
this. But then the in-person one always takes a lot more work and effort, right? So
yeah, totally.
back and forth. But that's awesome you're doing that. It seems like all you guys are doing that for the community, having events where everybody can be showcased and be put on. And then a lot of people do the whole like $5 to skip the line thing, which I think is cool. It's not too expensive. I've done that
Yeah,
kind of back in the day just so they can hear my music and put on their platforms. But I think what you guys are doing for the community is awesome. And it's being shown on Twitter from the extension that you're doing in these events. Like everybody shows love on Twitter because of what you're doing with these events as well. They just really
right.
do it. So you're giving value to the community for free essentially, and then they're showing love back. It's just how it works.
For sure, for sure. It's always appreciated, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me, all right, so let's go back to your journey. So you took 10, well, like really like 13 years off, really, essentially, right?
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's 2024 now.
Yeah. So what made you start making music back then? What inspired that? And then obviously you talked a little bit about what stopped it a little bit, but
What started my music journey?
yeah, yeah,
Like at the very beginning would have to be the first time I ever heard. Like I can still remember to this day being okay. I can't remember to this day what age I was, but I know I was young enough that 45 vinyls were still a thing,
yeah.
and I constantly nonstop played "We Are the World" by Michael Jackson.
the the bird, well, actually, because that song has all those other singers on it too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That live
There's
video
so
that
many stars in that.
yeah,
I could probably do word for word, and I try to do all their voices too. It's
that's
crazy.
awesome. So that was one of the first songs that grabbed your attention and made you
That
make.
is the definitely one of the first songs that grabbed my attention.
Okay.
Uh,
That was a long
and
time.
from then on, it's just something about music uh, really spoke to me.
Mhm.
But I moved around so much, just wherever my mom could get work. We moved around so much. I didn't really have a chance to go into like music classes,
Okay.
or if I did, I was far too has so much anxiety about meeting new people and all the time. It's just you don't get into those things.
Right. Right.
And
Makes
then
sense.
you move around so much, there's no point in joining anything because it's like, well, I'm just gonna end up moving anyway. So it wasn't until my late teens that my mom got my brother and I a guitar and we started jamming out. So I would try to, so there was about 97.
90s. I
Yeah.
was
Oh, wow. I was 16, 17 years old.
that's
being a
awesome.
little, being a turd teenager, that's for sure. But yeah, no, we got a guitar
Okay.
and I can remember playing my favorite bands or sitting by the radio trying to play my favorite band, Our Lady Peace.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I've heard of them.
yeah, so back then, Superman's Dead was just all over the radio, right? And there was no streaming back then, so you'd have to sit by the radio and wait,
And you
right?
were literally playing along to the song trying to figure it out because this is before the internet, before tabs.
Yeah. Oh
Wow.
yeah. No, no,
CDs.
instructions and stuff. I am not good um being taught,
Okay. Okay.
or at least verbally taught. I have to be there doing it,
Oh,
watching and getting to the oh right, sorry, or I get frustrated and then I end up just stopping.
okay. You need
And
the
I
hands
just
on.
lost my train of thought there.
Oh, you're good. I got you. So that hands-on element's important for you. And then you started with guitar, playing along to your favorite
Right.
song video.
Yeah, yeah. So playing along with my favorite songs, my brother would jammed to Weird Al, and I started writing parodies to my favorite songs. So
Because
at those times, late 90s alt rock
yeah,
was just phenomenal. So
right,
you had Live or Bush and well, Our Lady Peace, I Mother Earth, um, uh, so many different bands. So I
right,
would just, and so many different hits each week that I would just be writing parodies to, like funny jokes about my friends or relationships that's going on. That's like what people watch now for reality TV.
right,
Um, so that was fun until I got my first computer when I was 20. So that was at the turn of the millennia.
right.
Um, and I got my first PC, and I don't remember what Cool Edit Pro. I don't know
Yeah,
if
I remember that.
you remember Cool Edit Pro. So that
I
was the
didn't use
first
it too much,
music
but I
program.
remember it. Yeah.
So that was the first recording program or DAW that I used, and it was wild. The doors just opened for me.
Oh yeah, for sure. So you're making songs on that in 2000.
Yeah, yeah. I was just using their loops and stuff, which back then was like four. Yeah.
And the built-in microphone for the computer, right? Whatever you had.
No, no. So you had to get an external one and plug it in, the little 3.5 millimeter.
Yeah. Oh, those little tiny skinny ones. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They'd be like that long and
Those.
skinny. And it had like a little platform. So it would just stick
Yeah.
up in the air, right? That's what
Yep.
I would rap on.
No, was there EQ or anything with that?
Oh God, no.
Yeah, you're just straight
God, no.
going for it.
Oh yeah, totally. Like I learned wavelength
Mhm.
and distortion with my voice, so I would play around with like how far I'd be, because those little things is just distortion's crazy. Of course, they're not
Yeah.
built for that.
No, that's how you kind of cut your teeth then was with Cool Edit Pro.
Yeah, yeah, and then did a couple years with that until I met this guy Abacus in my city, Calgary,
Okay.
and he taught me how to structure rhymes,
Right.
because I was like, sorry for swearing,
No, you're good.
or almost swearing. Uh, I always wanted to sing and be like do R&B and stuff,
Mhm.
like, uh, but obviously I don't have the vocals for that. So rhyming was my next choice, and he taught me to structure everything right in rhyming couplets, and taught me like
Okay. All the
syllables and
basics.
counts and stuff.
Yeah.
Right, it's not just about writing a few
Right.
lines here and there and make it rhyme. Right, there's
Right.
there's structure to it.
Spelling, the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the breath control, I mean, it is a science almost.
Oh yeah. Using your voice. Yeah, how to use your voice for sure.
Totally. And he taught me how to do that and showed me more. He introduced me to Fruity Loops. This is when Fruity Loops 3 just came out, Fruity Loop Studio 3,
Now they're on 22, I think.
right?
That's good.
And so by that time I'm 23, so it's like 2003.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and that just made my music beat making journey so much more fun.
Oh yeah.
It just
Oh,
opened the
the
floodgates to
possibilities.
where
Yeah. Hmm.
I was just writing all the time and beat making, sitting in my basement. We was trying to find my mic stand, but I bought a mic stand, and I still had the computer mic, so I couldn't afford like a $80 stage mic,
Right. Right. Yeah.
right? Because in those days everything was so freaking expensive.
Yeah.
Not like today where you could spend like $40 and get a microphone.
True.
Um, but anyway, what was I saying?
Talking about getting a mic.
Oh yeah, so I couldn't afford those mics, so I had the computer mic. So I would take plasticine, shove it into the mic holder, and then jam that in there so it would hold.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So now it's
Wow.
attached. When I
Yeah.
could have just taped it,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
probably could have been easier.
Figured it out.
Uh, and then we would uh, take the rim, cut the rim off a big gulp cup,
That
take some pantyhose, put that over the ring.
was your pop filter.
Exactly. So we would take a wire coat hanger,
Yeah.
straighten it, kind of make it into a U or a V, and then attach it to the mic stand, and then we had our setup.
It's like 2003. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, 3 years into FL being out too, right? So,
totally.
and a lot of people back then weren't recording into FL. I mean, plenty were, I'm sure, but it
Oh,
was.
I had no idea. Everything was done in Cool Edit.
Yeah, yeah. It worked. It was there, right? I remember my friends even saying that to me, like, "Oh, you don't record into Fruity Loops, like you use other programs for." It's like, why? It all works now. Like it's
Oh,
fine.
totally.
Yeah.
Man, if I could if I knew how to use Fruity Loops, like some of y'all do today, back then, oof, game over.
Oh yeah. It's like if you right out of the gate were able to just produce super well, then yeah,
Yeah.
all of us would just be like,
I think that's how we all want to be. And then we go, okay, I hit a few buttons. Now I got to make this sound
I know. I used to
happy.
think making beats was, I mean, it's not that it's not simpler now or easier now, but like even back then, what I thought making beats was, there's so much more that goes into it, especially when you're making songs with other people and collaborating. Like I was just in LA doing with my friend, right? So they have a way that they want to structure their songs, they have a way that they're hearing it. You got to collaborate with them, make what they're hearing, right, in your
Mhm.
DAW for them. And that's a totally different experience than just sitting here and making beats for yourself, you know?
Totally.
So there's a lot more that goes into it than just making beats. But I dated a girl once, like I don't know, 6 months ago for a few months, and she saw me making a beat once. I played a guitar loop and made the beat. She goes, "Making beats is crazy." I'm like, I don't know, it's just regular to me. Like I don't think anything of it when I'm doing it, right? But most people don't
Yeah.
spend their free time making music. You know, they spend it watching movies, which I'll do sometimes too. It's not that I don't do those things, but most of my free time, especially during the day throughout the week when I don't have stuff going on with clients, is like I just use it to make music. I don't really do much else. I'll play video games maybe once or twice a week, but that's basically it. You know, I love doing this. So a lot of people can't relate to that because they just don't do it or they don't want to do it or get into
For
it.
sure.
Or they do and they just can't dedicate the time and energy into it. So that's awesome that you took
Yeah.
13 years off but still came back to it, you know? Like I said, I would have never known the difference if it wasn't for this.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know if I'm gonna bite Loop City Slums. I think sometimes I sound like Cheeks on some of my songs from earlier in the year. But that
Some
but
people might love those songs though, you know what I mean? Like you never know. Like a lot of times this the running joke is like your favorite song is often the public's least favorite, and then your least favorite is their most, right?
that is so true.
It's crazy. Like just some bubblegum poppy stuff can pop off, and then your deep introspective stuff that you're like, I love that song. It's like I don't care. Like they don't care for it, you know. So what are you gonna do? You can't control that.
No, for sure. That's funny you mentioned that because I did do a sort of a poppy, excuse me, hip hop song just because I needed to get something out of me and just have fun with it.
All right.
I don't, it's not like my favorite song,
Yeah.
but it's the most well received one, which is like, I don't understand.
See.
And my favorite song is like, this gets me going and nobody wants to hear it.
Yeah, and then you can't do anything about that. You just got to enjoy it for yourself, I guess. It's not that
Yeah.
nobody wants to hear it. Maybe you make video content for it and it blows up, you know, but that's what happened with my last one is like I really like that song. A bunch of people do, and then a bunch of people didn't, which is fine because it just got all kinds of crazy views overnight, which I'm not mad about. But
Yeah.
you never know. But so what's next then for you? You've been back at this for 6 months roughly ish. And I mean what you got music? I mean, I know you got the community you're building, but what's the next step for your process, especially with this job coming up?
Oh, that I'm just trying to figure out now
Mhm.
because I do know my set schedule is going to be overnights.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
Uh,
that's a tough one.
but and I will, but the blah blah can't talk.
No, you're good.
But uh, every second weekend I'll have off, so
Nice.
I'll
Nice.
be able to. And it's from 7 to 7, so I got time to maneuver and figure out
Yeah.
what shows kind of reschedule those around, but I'll still do them because I have fun with it.
Yeah,
But as far as my music, I'm making beats every day.
really. That's like
Oh yeah,
your main goal is for sure at least a beat.
absolutely. Like
Yeah.
there's, I can't stop. I even right now in the back room, I got music going on in my head.
Yeah, it's always, I know for me too. And that's where it gets tough with like client work and stuff because at the end of the day you always want to be working on your music, but then
Yeah,
obviously responsibilities that you have to people, right? So it's a tough thing to balance sometimes, but I do my best to stay in communication with everybody I'm working with, like on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, depending on deadlines, so that things don't fall through the cracks and everybody's in the loop with what's going on, you know. So,
hmm
you know, when there's artist deadlines, it's obviously different. You want to get stuff done by a certain time, but as long as you stay in communication, people are usually pretty happy with the work they're getting because you're not just ghosting them. A lot of people just ghost, so that's not me.
yeah. Hey, that's weird. I don't know why nobody can just be like, hey, you know what? I changed my mind.
That or like, hey, it's gonna take me a week longer, or what's the
Right.
deadline, whatever the communication is, right? So as long as you
Yeah.
keep that kind of stuff, I feel like you can do well in this business. But seems like you're doing pretty well, you know, establishing yourself, getting out there, getting people to know you, which is awesome. And
Thank
then
you.
you want to like start getting some shows going. Like, what's your goal with that in terms of your craft?
Yeah, I really want to do some live performances. I haven't done that since my mid 20s.
Yeah, been a while.
The last time I did it, I bombed on stage, so that's still in the
What
back
do
of my
you
mind.
mean, bong? What is
Oh,
that?
I went in 2 bars and I forgot everything.
Oh,
I
yeah,
became a deer in the headlights
really?
on the stage, and then my buddy hopped in, did his verse, and
That's nice. Hey, there you go. You got that.
well, that was pretty much the beginning of the end of that rap group.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. My bomb was kind of setting it off.
My first one was rough too. Back in like 2011, I made all the beats on Fruity Loops. My first beats ever. First, probably some of my first rhymes I ever wrote down for the songs, and I couldn't get them memorized for whatever reason. Right? I didn't have anything recorded like my voice, so there's no backing track, and so I just went up there with just the beats. And I remember like I think it was so bad that I was like trying to read the lyrics off the laptop. Like my friend was my DJ or whatever, but I was like, bro, I don't remember. Like I need something to reference
Yeah,
something. And it was bad. And there was like 4 or 5 people there for me, and they were just like, hey, man, it's cool, it's whatever, right? Like we weren't like booing
that's
me,
dope.
but it was rough. Like the ones that I'm posting now are much better 10 years
Yeah.
later, 12 years later than whatever 2011 was, right? So, I mean, that's, hey, the fact that you're still out here doing it and that you want to push forward, a lot of people would be discouraged by that and they would just give up.
Well, I think a lot of it too has to do with my medication now that I'm on,
Mhm.
Vyvanse for ADHD.
Oh, okay.
Like in my 40s, I just been recently diagnosed with it,
Okay.
and understanding, like having a title for it, and understanding what it is just checks so many boxes for me, and now I can like organize myself and understand, like, yeah, it's okay to have that internal fear, but it's not magnified by 8 billion like it used to be. Like I'm
Right.
still nervous about it when I think about it, but it doesn't want to make me run away and hide under the
Right.
covers. Like now I'm ready to, like, all right, give me the microphone and let's go. If I screw up, I screw up. So what?
Yeah. And it's never going to be perfect, but like you're still out there doing your best in those situations. And honestly, just putting yourself out there and doing it is the hardest thing, but the best thing for you, you know, at the end of the day. So
For sure. Sorry, is there background noise coming through?
I don't hear anything.
No? Okay. I got my balcony window open. There's a dog barking. So it's just
You could probably hear it, but I can't.
okay. Awesome.
We're on this end. You're good. No dogs barking in the mix. You're good. No Drake, no dogs. Um, so collaboration wise, like what's on the horizon? You got any new stuff coming out that you want to talk about? New projects?
Yeah.
Always working with people. That's a fact.
I'm working with quite a few people right now. Plus that's what I was getting to. I'm working on an album for August 12th release date.
Okay.
Um
All produced by you, all mixed by like
well, not all of it. I'm getting a few people.
Okay.
involved.
Yeah.
Um,
You might have mentioned me, like to me about something like that. Like I think I could be wrong. I have a lot of conversations.
yeah, no, you're on my list. You're
Okay.
on my list. I just, I need to get working.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Uh,
you got time to. It's still
oh
beginning.
yeah, totally. And I secured an actual producer or
Nice.
engineer
Okay.
to mix everything because I want this. excuse me. I want this to be an actual record.
Right, right.
And
It's kind of like
and
your first big thing since you've come back, right?
exactly. Like I've put out some EPs and stuff, which is
Yeah.
great, but I really want to get back into album mode.
Mhm.
My original thought was like 22 tracks, and now I'm like, let's do 12.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
even 12 is a lot, you know?
Oh,
So,
for sure. And I'm halfway through now,
okay.
at least with beats, a couple written.
Right.
Um, but between the shows, I'm also doing a bunch of features with some other artists like
Okay.
Paulo Mac, the RPM. Who else? I was just talked to Wizard Gunlock about
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
working together.
Sure. Yeah.
Uh, who else? Well, I got a few more. I don't want to say just in case it's a no.
Keep them locked down just in case.
Just in case. It's not like it's supposed to be a
Profit.
surprise.
Yeah.
It's just more. I don't have a confirmation yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you're good. You're good. Well, that's cool. I think that's key to staying in this community is working with a lot of people. The first year I was in this, getting traction on Twitter, like 2020, 2021. Um, I think 50. I did 50 collaborations with people. Like I have a Spotify playlist where I either provided the loop or did the beat or something, or did the mixing work for someone. And there's
Right.
like 50 or 60 tracks on that playlist now. So like
Wow.
that's a really big part. And a lot of those people aren't on Twitter as much anymore or whatever, but just a big part of being in the community is just doing that, being willing to do that. You know, like I was sending out free loot packs to people back then, just small little packs. And then if they wanted more, they could pay for more. But that's really how I got my foot in the door with a lot of people in the community. So as an artist for you and a producer, obviously, it's like you got both ends. I didn't have the artist part until 2 years ago, right? So
Oh no.
yeah, like that really, I started writing 10 years ago, but 2 years ago, well, going on 3 years now, like in September is when I started putting out music under my own name, you know, where I'm singing and rapping and stuff.
Oh,
So
okay.
I've been doing it off and on, but not putting anything out really, just throwing it on SoundCloud and just like, okay, that was a good reference or that was a good try or whatever. But then about when my grandpa died around 2.5, 3 years ago, the one who taught me guitar, this tattoo I have right here, he gave me that one.
Oh, that's a dope
I
tat.
don't care anymore. And I just wanted to put out music. So didn't care what people thought. So at the end of the day, like I think what you're doing is really smart. I mean, I'm sure you're not approaching it that way, but it's just the smart way to go about things where you're just collaborating, showing love, and then it's just gonna build your platform and following organically over time.
Well,
So
thank you.
yeah, you're kind of doing what I did and have taught people how to do and like just on your own by just being yourself, you know, out here in this community. So I think it's awesome to see.
Yeah. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just get up and
Yeah,
go.
to an extent, none of us do. Like, well, there's plenty of tweets we throw out there, and we're like, "Oh, that's gonna do great." Does nothing, and like, I don't know why right now the algorithm feels so punishing more than ever. Like, some stuff is just
It's
not
weird.
doing anything.
There's like last night actually. Like I usually keep Twitter feed open.
Mhm.
Um, which I think I need to like step away.
Yeah, I'm
I
only
have,
on notifications once a
if
day.
you have a screen set up and you got everything set, it's like I don't need to look at it every 30
Checking, right?
seconds.
Yeah, no,
It's not my news feed, but
no, and
at
it
the
should,
same time, it's up there and it keeps me connected to
right?
some people because I don't have that many friends in real life because of my alcoholism and because I
Okay.
secluded myself for
Mhm.
like 20 something years
Yeah.
of heavy drinking. Uh, Now being sober and stuff, I'm just finding different ways to connect with people and make some new
It's
friendships
smart, right? It's smart.
for
Not really.
sure.
Yeah. You just, I mean, it just depends on the person, but like, if you don't want to be around the people who are doing it, then you don't have to. So you gotta live your own life on your own terms. And like you said, you have a
Yeah.
goal. So what you're doing is working towards that goal, not away from it. That's for sure. So I
Yeah,
think,
totally. I think part of it too is I have this personality. Like I'm quiet when you get to sort of know, until you know me,
mhm,
and
mhm.
then I'm that loud extroverted. I guess an extroverted introvert, introverted
Yeah,
extrovert,
you
whatever
like
that,
try that.
whatever those four
Yeah,
letter
yeah,
things
those
they
new
do.
term, all the terms these days.
Yeah,
I feel you. No, that's good though. I mean, you seem like a pretty outgoing guy, especially like with your presence in the community. So if you keep doing what you're doing, I can't see how it wouldn't help build your discography and build your network at the end of the day. So I think you're doing fine. So just keep doing it because people seem to really like you. Like definitely there's plenty of people who've like reached out for this podcast and I have no idea who they are, right? And at this
yeah,
point everybody's getting the same, like, yeah, it costs a little bit of money to be on it just for the time and the effort and the platform that I'm giving people to be featured on at
no,
this,
absolutely.
right? So some people get it, some people don't, but at the end of the day, it's much more enjoyable for me to do this with people who I've interacted with, seen showing love. I've seen their stuff like for a while. And then there's plenty of people who are just new to the platform that just want to pay somebody and just be like, hey, here's money, put me on, type of thing, which is totally fine too. I just don't know them as well. So in the interviews, it's always getting to know them better. But with you, I
Right.
see so much that I'm like, I have an idea of the type of person you are once people get to know you, right? So when you say that whole, at first you're a little quiet, then over time, you open up more and get to be that extroverted person you are. I can see that personality on the internet a little bit just by how you interact.
Right.
Like there was a point when like even if my tweet had 5 likes or whatever, or one comment, like it was probably your comment, right? Because you're showing love, which is a great thing. That's not bad
Yeah.
at all. And so for me, it was always encouraging, like, there he is, like there's someone that's gonna say something, right? And I think that's
Yeah.
it.
I think we all, at least for something with Twitter, at least want our thoughts acknowledged,
Yeah, or at
right?
least a conversation, right? About things.
Yeah. Even if it's just like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously with the engagement tweets or the questions or whatever. But now
Yeah,
I'm seeing some crazy ones. I don't know about you, but like I'm
my
being
timeline's pretty clean.
insane, not like in a bad way, just like I'm seeing some questions from accounts that I've never even seen before outside of the music community. And I'm just
Oh
like,
yeah?
I guess everybody's just doing this now where they're all asking questions and it's just stupid engagement on all these posts and like crazy high engagement, which is awesome. But I'm like, I don't know who any of these people are. And it's just like it's relationship questions and all that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
okay. No, it's yes. Sorry, I meant like my timeline's pretty clean. I just mean it's like I
It's just
only
us
see
still.
maybe 10 people on my timeline.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Right now I'm not seeing as many. I don't know why. I don't know what happened in the last week. It feels like it's different. Like they changed
mhm.
the algorithm or something, but I'm not seeing nearly as many of you guys as I used to. And I even switched over to the following tab. You know how there's the following and the for you tabs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Normally in for you, I'll see all you guys, but I wasn't for a minute. So I switched to following and I saw some of you guys, and I switched back and I would see others of you. But it's a bunch of people I don't follow, is what I'm seeing now. Just because it's high interaction on the
That's wild.
yeah.
Because yeah, no, no, you're right. Because now that I think about it, I've only been seeing your posts maybe the last few days, or
Mhm.
I don't see them at all.
Yeah, and
Um,
maybe it's because I don't pay for Twitter anymore. Who knows?
oh,
Knows? Because now what I'm doing is like, because I used to post all these onto Twitter, the full thing, and then I realized that you can only see my highlights tab if you're paying for Twitter yourself. I didn't realize that at first, so I was like, well, that's a bummer because the full
really?
is living on the highlights tab. Yeah, and so I was like, well, I mean, the alternative would be to finally get to posting these to YouTube, right? And stop paying Twitter because half my following doesn't pay for Twitter, so they can't go and find the full interviews. It was in my bio, like, go to the
Wow.
highlights tab for full interviews, but half of them don't even pay for Twitter, so they can't get to the highlights tab. It was like premium content there, right? And I didn't know that. And I was like, well, that's a bummer. Like, I'm just going to stop paying, upload snippets to Twitter, and then push to YouTube and say, if you really want to watch the full thing, it's on YouTube, which everyone's fine with. They don't have an issue with that.
No, not at
If
all.
they really want to see it, they'll go, or they'll at least show love to the snippet and share it, right? So especially guys like you in the community, these ones usually do pretty well because you're so active. So me putting your name in the title and them seeing your face, and they're used to seeing your face because you show your face, which is smart. Most people
Right.
don't do that. It just, the love just goes up from there because they know who you are, they know who I am, and then they see that I'm talking to you. And it's just like instantly, oh, more of him for me to consume on the timeline or on YouTube or whatever. And they don't mind doing it.
Right.
I think it's awesome what you're doing, the way you're going. It's very genuine, it's very real. I mean, in your 40s, 6 months back into this, and you're still pushing. I think that's a testament to you and encouraging, because there's a lot of people who give up on this at like 20, 22 years old. They just get a job.
I can see that. Yeah.
And
It's not easy.
it's
It's
not
it's
easy, and maybe they wanted to do it for a little bit, or maybe they just wanted some fame or money or success or whatever. But
yeah.
at this point, me and you are both guys who've been playing music for so long, right? I've been playing this thing over here since I was 13, 14 years old and learned
Yeah.
late, right? And I'm 33 and you're 40 and been playing guitar since you were a teenager, right? So
Yeah. I'm
that's a,
not that great at it, but I can hold a few tunes.
yeah, for sure. And just the fact that you still do it and you're still like perpetuating what you want for your career and still pushing for it, like most people, they give up, They just, I mean, the Jay-Z story is like, what do you make it, like 38 or something like that, or
Yeah.
six or something. But yeah,
Well, I mean, I even look at Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, his he didn't start making movie after movie until he was in his 40s.
really,
Yeah, like
I didn't know. Like Pulp
Cut
Fiction and all that.
Pulp Fiction, he was in his 40s, I believe. Because I'm pretty sure he was in his late 30s
Yeah.
or early 30s when he appeared in Coming to America with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall.
Wow.
Yeah,
You just never know. You
no,
don't.
you don't. And I mean, the man looks like he's 30 years old since the 1980s.
Ever since Mace Windu, he's never aged.
Yeah, totally. It's those Jedi power, the midi chlorians.
That's what, yeah, yeah, the midichlorians that didn't exist until the second trilogy. Anyways, yeah, it's funny because those don't even exist in the original trilogy. So it's like they're in the first, they don't exist in the second, and then they're back in the third. And it's like,
Well,
okay,
there's a can of worms there, man. Can of worms there.
three separate companies all pushing the same movie franchise at different times, which is crazy. And different,
Yeah.
it's like trying to release music when you're famous and then not famous and then famous again. It's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I think it's really cool what you're doing, man. Like, just keep going. Most people don't pick up back up again in their 40s after 10 years and then finding themselves and finding what they want to do. Or I think that's awesome. So for me, that's the most fascinating part about this interview is like, oh, he's just like freshly back at it, but you have the look, you have the scene, you have the people, and you just keep doing what you're doing. In 4 years, if you stick with this on this platform, and like I post on all platforms, but Twitter is my main focus, obviously. Like
Right.
you'll have something, you'll have a community, you'll probably have like 10K in the next year or two if you don't stop. Like it's very possible. It's just a little slower than it used to be because I really was, popping and pushing on this platform in like 2020, 2021 before Elon came around, got rid of all the bots. We were doing like 100 plus followers a day just because so many bots, just
Right.
fed followers. So we all have these followings that are a little inflated, which we had nothing to do with. But at the end of the day, like the way you're connecting with people in the community, you keep doing that's going to go strong. That's only going to help you. It's not going to hurt your career
I
or your,
appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, you seem like one of the real honest, genuine ones doing it out there. There's probably like 10 or 20 of you that I see regularly that are just supporting each other just to support.
I think it's maybe on some level we all understand how hard it is,
Mm-hmm.
and we have maybe the tools just to get it other indies out there and get them some light or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I remember, I don't know if you remember, like other than MySpace uploading music, but Acid Planet.
Oh, I didn't
Um,
even know that.
yeah, so Acid Planet was, at least in my community of people, was pretty big. Um, I don't even know if it still exists. There might be jams on there that I don't even know about or remember.
Probably. Oh, for
Used to
sure.
be
Yeah. I mean, if you were making music back then, right?
It'd be pretty cool because the oldest CD I have uh is from 2006,
Okay.
but I started in 2001. So there's like two, maybe three copies of burned CDs somewhere floating around Calgary. Somebody's
Someone's got them.
closet.
Yeah, maybe they're on their desk. You never know. I'll come across that stuff and see if I can hear it still. See if it still works on my CD player up there.
Yeah.
Stuff from back then. Yeah, that's awesome. So, yeah, you got a pretty huge discography then at this point, I'd say, right?
Yeah, I think I'm close to over 200 or cracking 200 songs. And that's not
You were
counting
making a lot of
instrumentals.
music back then.
Oh, we were going nuts. Like when I was in a couple of groups, we all worked together. So we go do our construction jobs, and then
Okay.
12 hours later, boom, right back at my place making beats, rapping, and partying.
Having a good time.
And we'd probably do 3, 4 songs a night.
Jesus.
Um,
Back to work in the morning. Oh my
oh
God.
yeah, yeah. That I would I was such an alcoholic. Like my body could process the liquor no problem. So I would drink maybe two sixes or 26 ounces of vodka
Oh
in
my gosh.
in a night. And people go, "Oh no, you die." No, I'm
That's
probably close to
13
it.
double
Probably close
shots,
to it.
bro. No,
Trust
yeah,
me.
that
Oh
is
no,
that.
just straight out the bottle.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just trying to do the math for me, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry,
If
yeah.
I were to take 13 2 ounces of liquor, that's 26.
Like my stomach's queasy just thinking about it now.
Yeah, now,
But
right? Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you have all the help and support you need now to keep going, but
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I should have died when I got sober.
yeah.
I went through the detox withdrawal by myself, which
Mm,
is not smart. Don't ever do that. Like go to a hospital,
yeah,
make
get
sure
help.
you have the proper treatment. They give you proper medication to help wean you off, rather than your body going, where's my booze?
Yeah.
And your
It's
body just goes in shock.
yeah, it's yeah, I'm sure it's tough. I've never been to that point where I was drinking that much, but I'm sure it wasn't easy. But hey, you did it on your own, which is once again a testament to you, right? Like,
I'm so stubborn.
yeah, so when was that? Like a while ago, or
Sorry.
when was that? When did that all go down?
So I that was April 2016.
Dang. So you've
Yeah.
been over like 8 years.
Yeah, yeah. Just past what is it?
You didn't come back to the music until like roughly maybe a year ago, huh?
Yeah, I got into martial arts when I got sober,
Okay.
which was something I always wanted to learn.
Okay.
And lucky enough, Bruce Lee is a huge inspiration of mine. And sorry,
He did the 2 finger punch, right? That was him, I think, or the 2 inch punch or something like that.
the one inch
One inch,
punch,
yeah.
1 inch punch. Yeah, yeah. Actually, I got to
That
train
real?
with. It is. It is. I trained with his buddy in Seattle just when 2020, just before the world shut down.
Yeah.
Uh, I was in Seattle training at an instructors conference, and they were teaching us the 1 inch punch. And I will tell you, if you get it right, the kinetic energy that you're
Force.
producing, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's
crazy.
crazy. Have you done it before?
I have. I got it done once on me. It
Okay.
hurts. Well, I had like a couple of books in front of me, just so there
Yeah.
was cushioning. It
Yeah. Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It still
Oh no,
hurt.
it still goes through. It still goes. Yeah.
Totally. And
Oh,
it pushed me back like 6, 7 feet.
that's it. That's see, that's that's a whole nother thing. Because he used to walk on paper and stuff too. Like
For
paper.
real?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Bruce Lee. There's videos of it. I think my dad showed me on YouTube and stuff where he's walking on like these sheets of paper with like frames around them, and he knew how to disperse his energy or whatever the word is. Where
That is wild.
I'm pretty sure I would look it up if I were you because I'm for sure
I'm gonna
seeing it.
look that up. I'm gonna write
Yeah,
that down.
you got to look that one up because that's pretty crazy too. But the things the human body can do. But that's awesome, man. So you've been at this for a long time. You've been sober for a long time. You're back at it. You found the outlet again. You found music again. And now you're just really pushing for it in your 40s, which is more than most can say. I'm going to say at this point.
I am, and I think it's probably because there's some sort of arrested development with me because of my
Yeah.
drinking and
Yeah.
moving around, that I feel like I'm 20, maybe
Yeah. Well, for
24.
sure. You probably feel a
And
lot.
And I know I don't look in my 40s, at least I've been told.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
so I
hey,
still feel young. I have that energy, and I think refining myself and that passion has really ignited uh, my love for music.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I could only imagine it made it better too, because when you came to me with that feature, it's always one of those things with, especially with a feature, let alone a paid feature, right? I'm like, well, let me hear what you have first. And that's not like any disrespect. It's what it really is for me.
No,
I don't want to take anybody's money if I don't believe in the song or I can't hear something or I don't like what I'm hearing. And there's got to be some aspect of what, like, if you would have sent me the song and it was like F this, F that, no, 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 like I'm doing blah blah blah, like I just like the whole rapper thing, regular rapper thing, right? Like
right.
I don't really make music like that. So when you're like, this song's about music, like, and how important it is to you, and like you gave me that prompt, and I was like, all right, good, like there, done, no problem, I can do that. But
Yeah,
it's
and that goes
quite
back
a
to
lot.
the Eternal video. I think that's where I got sidetracked. I take
Oh no, no,
detours.
you're good, man. You're
Yeah.
good. It makes sense
But
to me. Oh,
yeah, no, when I saw that Eternal video, I was like, okay, listen to more of your stuff. And I went, okay, I needed something for this song.
mhm.
And okay, well, here's this guy. I
Yeah,
don't know him. I don't know uh much about him other than the music. And then, you know, just said, screw it. Like I need to start doing something. So let's make the jump. Ask.
right.
Worst he's gonna say is no. Who the heck are you?
Usually, I'm not that way at all.
Right? But that's just my own thoughts
Yeah, yeah,
and thinking.
yeah,
But you said yes, you were kind enough to hop on and you
yeah.
killed the part.
Jeez, man.
Um,
It was
and
fun.
that really started to steamroll the next songs for my EP.
Really.
Uh, yeah, because I think if it wasn't received uh, by you, who I saw as somebody who was like somewhat established in their own platform and making their thing, that I have a shot at something.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I never think about it that way. I'm just always pushing and grinding for more and trying to build more. So I'm never like, in my head, I'm never like, I'm established. Like, I'm just like, I have followers and I have a platform finally for once, but I just do my best to use it to the best of my ability and just
Hmm.
maximize my time, especially being in this new space. Like, nothing's free. I have to pay to be here. It's expensive, right? And so I don't mean to
Well, I
like,
can't even imagine.
be the guy who's like charging for things, but I tweeted about it the other day, having podcast slots for this week, last week, after I got you down in another one of my boys, and there was 3 comments in there, and they're just like, "Oh, you charge?" And it's like, I mean, first of all, one of those people was one of my marketing clients, so they knew that I charged for services, and then which is totally fine. It's no shade at all, but I'm not gonna go and answer that question on the platform. Like it was very apparent in the tweet that it was something that costs money, right? That it's not free anymore.
Right.
I needed proof of concept. There was a bunch of people I was interested in that I kept seeing on the platform that I wanted to interview for myself, and then I opened it up to the public, and then we had already worked before one, and then so I was like, oh yeah, that's easy, that's a no-brainer, and you're willing to use the platform to help your platform, and you understood the concept of it. Some people don't, which is totally fine. But at the end of the day, it's like nothing's free. Like even my boy came here last night, that's the mic setup right there, like he recorded affirmations for his for his YouTube channel because he's got a bunch of subscribers there and does like motivational content, like
Nice.
expanding your mind type stuff. He paid, right? Like, and he's one of
Yeah.
my boys. That's my barber, and he's like it's no shade to anybody. It's just nothing's free. Like it's just
No, it's
unfortunate.
business.
Yeah, it's just
And when
business.
you can separate the two,
Right.
like I can see where some people might be coming from, because I had those thoughts in the beginning. And then when you understand uh, what has to happen for these projects
Yeah.
or things to happen, there's a cost.
Yeah. And it's and like if I had 10 followers and I had a podcast, then of course, like I'm not gonna charge people for exposure that isn't there. But if it is exposing them to
No.
an audience that they didn't have access to before, that's kind of where the money and the attention comes in. We're all trying to get people's attention, right? More
Oh,
attention.
totally. And I mean, you've worked hard enough to get where you are. Um,
Years,
and
5 years.
your time is valuable now, right? Because
Yeah.
your, and I'm talking about just about your time, not like, oh, I got to produce, I got to do this, and I
Yeah.
got to
Yeah.
record, right? If you have your time,
Right.
well, somebody wants to come on and do an interview, well,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to pay for that time, because that was for me.
Yeah, and it's just and it's one of those things where it's I'm not saying that others' time isn't valuable. I'm just saying that this is being posted on my platform that does have some type of a reach.
Yeah.
And
Sorry,
that's
I didn't mean to make it sound like that.
oh no, you didn't at all.
Or like
No,
work.
no, you didn't make it sound like that at all. But I just know where some people are coming from. Though, oh, you charge. It's
Yeah.
like, and everyone I've ran it by, from the community that I've talked to, offline or not on the podcast or whatever, they're just like, oh, bro, like, of course, like, run it, get that money. They're not tripping, but then there's just people who just don't see the value in it, which is fine. It just means it's not for them. That's all it means.
Yeah, for sure.
Wrong that I'm doing it, right? And that's what always tries to creep into your head is the whole imposter
Yeah.
thing where you're not worth it. You shouldn't, you don't. But then you find people that see value in it. You know
Is
what I
that
mean?
what imposter syndrome is? Because I
Kind
never.
of, or just like the whole like you don't deserve this or nothing else is coming and that's it. You've hit your peak and you're done and you can't make anything more out of
Um,
this. And
that's
it's
just everyday life for me.
sabotaging thoughts, right? Yeah, they feed off you, try to feed off you. So, just because some people don't see the value in it doesn't mean others won't, right?
Right.
So you just got to keep it moving and say, okay, no. And I'm always so polite when they're just like, oh, I don't pay for that kind of stuff, right? I'm like, okay, like have a good day, or if you need anything, I'm here. I got guitar, whatever, X, Y, Z. There's other services. I might even have free loops for you, right? Because like that
Yeah.
was the whole thing too. So it's just like I'm always trying to leave the conversation with a good taste in their mouth, opposed to like them being like, oh, he asked for money for stuff. Like I mean, it is what it is. Like all these things take time. Like making guitar loop takes time, making beats takes time. Like it's not that the artist and producer shouldn't have a symbiotic relationship. They should. But how many people are putting out a cappella music without beats?
Yeah.
Not very many. Like
Not a lot.
we're not making poetry here. We're trying to be artists, right? Rappers, producers, and singers. So something has to come to inspire something else. And if there's
Yeah.
music that has to be created for that inspiration to come, unless you're, just writing lyrics all day long and you just need beats. But even still, you still need a beat, or you're looking for, or you want a beat. There's value in that, right? And that's what
Which
this
is wild to me. Because that's, yeah. I remember when I first started, it's like, well, if I'm going to rap, where am I getting music?
and so you decided to do it yourself.
I had to do it myself. I didn't know nobody.
Yeah.
And the people that I
For
that
you.
I got in touch with, they did it themselves, so they taught me.
Yeah.
So when I see
I
people,
had those friends too, right? Yeah.
yeah. So when I see posts about like uh writers being mad for having to pay a certain price for beats, it's like, what?
And then they should be paid. And so it basically evens it out and wash. And it's like, no,
Yeah,
bro.
no, that's not how this
If you
works.
want
You
to make
don't.
an album, you need beats. Like, come on, it's not that hard.
You're hungry, you want to go to a buffet, you got to pay to get to the buffet.
Well, but I want it so bad. Come on, I'm the next.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, we're brother, my brother in Christ. We're all the next big thing in
Trust
all
me,
of our heads. We
we've
all
all had it.
okay. I'm the artist too now. I feel that way too, but I still went to LA to work on my friend's album because he compensates us fairly. Like
Yeah.
it's not this conversation anymore where it's like, come on, bro, like just mess with me. It's like, yeah, like you're gonna tell my landlord that like I didn't pay rent this month because I was messing with my boys and they're the next big thing. Like that doesn't pay the rent, bro. Like
Yeah.
conversation ended 2 months ago when I got in this room. Like I'm not out of my bedroom anymore. I'm my parents' place, right? Like
Yeah.
this costs money. Like I'm so sorry,
Oh
but
yeah.
price went up, right? And of course, like I tweeted about it, and I think you responded to it about like the more people want to come back and work with me, the more lenient I am, or the nicer that I'll be with pricing or bundle deals or whatever the case may be, or working with your budget or your payment plan, anything. I'm cool with all of that. But
Yeah.
it's like, if you're coming to me and you're like, oh, that's your hourly, well, here's half of it, and I'm like, that's okay. Like you can. I think there's a guy in San Jose that does that. Like it's not me.
Right? You're
I'm
gonna
not that
find
dude.
somebody for your price.
Oh yeah, for sure. Or your boy, bro. Like go to your boy. Like get your $25 mixes off. Like he'll do it. Like I won't,
Totally.
and that's fine.
It's
That's no
funny.
shade.
I offer friends like I'll
Yeah,
record you for free. I don't care. I'm
that's
not doing
nice.
anything.
That's super nice.
Nothing. I can't even get
And then
that
see,
going.
that's what I'm saying. That's what's like the whole thing where it's like the cheaper the client, the harder they are to work with, the more they want from you for that dollar amount, you know? So
Yeah.
like someone like you, great example, you had no idea, no, not no idea. Well, you had no idea, but you had no problem with the price that I told you for the feature. One of the easiest people to work with, right? And you're just like, this is great. Like, that's fantastic. Did you want to like what are the most work you had me do was can you send me the lyrics? And for me, the way I work is like I'll write half of it and then freestyle the other half and then take the parts I like and put it all together.
Okay.
So I just had to write like the other half of what I said on the track.
Right.
Oh, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, darn, like that wasn't hard. And that's cool. I like when there's lyrics to go along with streaming, you know? So
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy that too because it reminds me of those days where you go to the record shop and get your CD or your tape cassette and you had liner notes and all the lyrics were there.
yeah. And I want to go back to that. I don't know about you. I was going to ask you with this new release that you have coming in August, do you intend to do like any CDs or vinyls or
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you went back to that because Flip's World did
yeah,
Raw on vinyl,
I got
and
it. I
yeah, I
bought
got two copies myself.
yeah.
Um, and putting it on just reminded me of how much I love listening to records.
Mhm.
Just put the needle down, listen to the whole record, flip it over, listen to the other side, right, and just vibe out. So I'm definitely wanting to do vinyl, CD,
Mhm.
some tape cassettes. I want to go. I want my release to be like the old days, at least
Official,
in my day.
tangible, something people can hold, put in their cars and listen to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Merch
And
would that's a whole nother thing.
yeah, and I'm hoping to have my buddy actually is an artist, so they're
Okay.
designing a logo for me.
That's sick.
So it's not just going to be D Money anymore. So
Okay.
it's a little too pretentious for me. Like it was a cool look.
Yeah.
I like the logo, but it's not. I don't like
A
it
rebrand.
being about me,
Right. Right.
unless it's like my album.
Right.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
if but at the same time, I want to start like my own little entertainment company thing. So having a logo, I think, would
So yeah, we're working on
be
that.
definitely helpful.
Yeah. Because this studio is called Jam Type Studios. So it's not
Nice.
stressful anymore, right? So at least it's a little different for the merches. I never felt comfortable putting my name, like not even comfortable. I wouldn't wear that. I don't like that. Like Linkin Park's one of my favorite bands ever. I bought one besides the Meteora concert as a kid, right? The tour where we got bootleg shirts from some dude on the street after because our
Yeah.
parents paid full price, which is
Yeah.
fine. Besides that, I bought one shirt from them when Chester passed, and it has his face on it. He's screaming, and it had, you know, his flame tattoos, and he's holding the mic. That was different because I was like, okay, that's like in honor of him. But I'm
Yep.
still not out here buying things that's, you know, like except for the cool like band, the shirts like that, where it's like like what you're wearing, right? The ice
Yeah. Yeah. I got this
kind of
actually in an Ice
different,
Cube
you
thing.
know, like it's not just it doesn't just say Ice Cube, right? It's got a picture
No.
of him, it's his album, it's from a song, it's from a thing, right? So it's got a theme to it, but like just something like this that said Josh Presser right here, I'd be like, I'm not wearing that, like I'm not interested in that. So
Yeah.
it's just always a thing of back and forth in my head for me is like merch, you know, selling it. Of course I want to, it's just a matter of pulling the trigger. So we'll get there. But yeah, that tangible stuff is something big for me. So I was wondering if it was something big for you too.
It really is because I'm such a collector of physical copies. I have almost over 1,000 DVD Blu-rays because I grew up because we moved around so much. I just movies were something that we could all connect with. Just
Mm-hmm.
time for me, my brother, and my mom.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got thousands of movies, and I had a nice. Oh, I got like all of Tupac's CDs because that's my favorite artist.
Yeah.
But I had such a collection of CDs and stuff up until 2013. Southern Alberta had the worst flood in history and wiped out like a couple of towns, and I lost all my stuff.
Oh my gosh.
About 98% of my stuff. I saved all my DVDs and my musical equipment,
Yeah.
but everything else, like I should have saved most of my DVDs and
Yeah,
or sorry, CDs, because I had a nice collection.
had to let those go.
Ugh, it's sad.
That sucks. That's
But yeah, no, I love physical copies, and I don't know why.
it's coming back for sure. Like because it's been like 10 years of streaming, right? So we're kind of all just like
Has it?
I feel like it's been since 2014. I want to, yeah. I feel like Apple Music and stuff was definitely a thing back then.
Really?
Kind of came.
I never got into streaming or anything up until I started doing this, really. Because I always just build my own playlists on iTunes,
Yeah, yeah, that's old.
right?
Right.
Like I'm old school, so I build my own workout playlists and stuff.
Yeah.
So I never really streamed anything
Mhm.
up until I started putting my music up.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm still learning a lot of the lingo and
Oh yeah, it's been around 10 years at this point, and just for me, it's just one of those things where I've always still bought vinyls for my favorite bands or artwork that I thought was cool. Like I just got a 21 Pilots vinyl in because their new album came out. I like them. I've liked them for a long
yeah,
time.
they're great.
But yeah, I mean, I'll do it just to support, put artwork on the wall, something cool to see, right? So at the end of the day, like I just want to hold something. And the first thing that happened when I played my first show back a couple months ago, got off stage, some guy goes, "You got a CD?" And I was like, "Oh my god, no, I don't." But I am on streaming, and he's like, "Oh, I like CDs," and I'm like, it's all good. Like, but
Yeah.
there's demand there, there's interest there, so.
Well, that's great to know for sure.
And it's always fun to hand out stuff for free too, right? Like just
Yeah.
buying a bunch of blanks and then just making a bunch of burn CDs and just handing them out to people. Like,
You
oh,
just clicked a memory for me.
dude, so many.
2003, I burnt maybe 100 CDs. I packaged uh I drew the cover and a
Yeah,
very intricate logo
yeah,
because my first rap name was Endangered Logic. So I
uh,
put like this little block and it said Endangered Logic in this whole thing.
yeah.
It was like a mosaic piece. Anyway,
Oh,
uh I just burned a bunch and yeah, I remember going out one night, just 100 CDs. Here you go. Here you go.
just having conversations with people and giving them out.
Yeah. Yeah,
100%.
totally.
And that shows and stuff, it's so easy because they're there for music. So it's like, hey, man, I got something like cool. Like that stuff's just cool, man. I think it's good. I think it's good to go back to that because streaming, we lost a lot of that touch for sure. I'm not saying, I mean, you could be the mixtape tape dude out of your car, giving stuff out of the trunk for sure. But like, it just
Yeah.
way more sense to talk to people like, oh, I got, a little 3 song thing. Like,
Yeah.
cost me $3 to make it, maybe, right? And it's like, here, bro. Like you can just have it. And then obviously full albums with the artwork and everything that costs money, but
For sure.
package. But I think it's cool. I think it's something cool to go back to as a band. Back in the day, we used to do it when we had our band, just give out little EPs to people and just hang out, business cards, whatever. Just doesn't really exist anymore because a lot of people are only artists on the internet. So that's a whole nother talk.
You know, you're right. And that's another concept that I
Yeah, it's
have
new.
a hard getting
It's
switching around.
it's tough. And even for
Yeah.
me, like I have followers on the internet, but in real life, like you were saying, a few friends, right?
Yeah.
Family members, acquaintances, people I know that I'll invite out to shows. You might only get 10 people there. Like for you, there's another 20 or 30 for other people, right? And you get to meet them and
No,
meet.
for sure. Speaking of shows, I just saw you just did a show like last night or the day before.
Yeah, I did a show. I played guitar for my friend at the Viper Room.
The Viper Room, yeah.
Yeah, on Saturday. We did the whiskey like last year, which is across to Sunset Boulevard, and then we did Viper Room. But Viper Room's going away, so I'm glad I finally got to do it before because they're putting condos up. So
Really?
it's cool to like check those things off the bucket list and be like, cool, I did it. Because as a teenager, I wanted to do that stuff, in the
So
band.
the Viper Room is pretty
It's a pretty well-known place. It's River Phoenix actually like died outside of the Viper Room.
okay. So yeah, I was just gonna ask because I saw an episode of Ghost Adventures and
You know?
they filmed there.
Yeah. Yeah. So he
That's
passed away
right.
outside. I think it was alcoholism or drugs or something. He passed out away on the
Yeah.
street. But like the whiskey and Viper Room, both of them, like whiskey had, Lincoln Park before they're Lincoln Park, they're on stage, like Led Zeppelin back in the day. I think like, all the punk rock band, like Nirvana and stuff, I'm pretty sure played there. So they're like well-renowned like venues for like when you're starting to build a following. Those are places
Okay.
shows that or would play at. So it's cool that I've done those things. It's like checking off the bucket list, but then doing a show on your own, like I've been doing too here in the Bay Area, where you're just going out rapping for 10, 20 people, getting some content, meeting some people, getting in the community. Like it's basically doing what I did on Twitter, but in real life, right? Just being active in the community.
How did you go about that? Getting a venue,
Here in the Bay Area.
or just
So
any?
the LA stuff, my friends handled all that. So my friend whose album I went there to work on, him and our friend Dasmine, her name Dasmine's Universe is her Twitter and Instagram handle. She just, has connections and built relationships with these venues to get us shows there. Which is super cool. But at the end of the day, like here, I just know enough people where every now and then I'll get a text, hey, show coming up, you want to play it? And it's always a yes, even if I want to say no. So
Yeah,
um, and it's just cool just getting out there, experiencing it, perform. I mean, probably better than most that performing your own music is just something totally different. Like it's one thing
oh
to be
yeah,
a guitarist and chilling in the background or like doing some lead stuff every now and then. It's another thing to get up there and rap your songs and perform your music for the world because that's like your heart, soul. Not that guitar doesn't have
yeah,
heart, soul in it, but when it's your voice, you're projecting your emotions and feelings in your music to the world is very different than just like I play guitar like for my hobby,
yeah,
which is cool. I love it. I'm not like mad at it. It's just they're two very different dynamics that I've now experienced, and the feeling you
for
get
sure.
stage is very different when you rap your own music. So,
Well,
and
congratulations on that, man. That's pretty cool to go to play one of
oh
your.
yeah, and the people who like it are always the people we think aren't gonna like it. They're just like, oh, that was fire, and I'm like, you liked that, like,
Yeah,
thanks, bro. Like I would have had no idea you'd be a fan of that kind of music, right? So.
yeah,
It's really fun and just the people coming up to after and they're just like this one dude at this last show I played here before I went to LA. I guess we went to high school together and he was on the bill. I didn't, recognize or remember him. He comes up to me after he's like, bro, like I think we went to high school together. That was really good. And then he performed after me. And it's just cool, like to see people still doing it, still pursuing it. Like not necessarily that they know the whole online aspect and like this whole part of it all, obviously, right? It's not like he knew me from Twitter or anything, but like
right.
the performing part's cool, but then there's this whole other world where like you can build a brand and build a business and build an income, and most people don't even think about that. They're just like,
Right.
I just want to perform. Like I want to be an artist. That's okay. You can pay me to mix it. Like you can pay me to record you. You don't have to do all of this, but I
I
always,
have to pay?
yeah, right. And it's like I always encourage people do learn how to do all this on your own. But it took me a solid like few years to get the basics and fundamentals down before
Oh
I ever
yeah.
seeing anything monetarily for anything.
There is so much that needs to be learned and how to maneuver and understand stuff.
Yeah,
It's pretty
it's a
wild.
lot of work and not a lot of upfront payment. It's just a lot of time and energy learning.
Oh no, I had that I don't know, I forget the I can't think of the term, but that's what I thought when I first came back.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm like, okay, we're getting this. I'm getting airplay. I'm doing all this. I'm going for it. And then, there's there's nothing going on. So you got to get used to that.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like for me, I was doing the whole back in 2018. I was doing the whole after my first divorce, like Uber thing full time. And then once I got my schedule down to match my girlfriend's at the time, ended up being my second wife. Like we had our schedules matched, so I would work during the day and I'd be off around 2 or 3, start at 6 a.m. And then either hang out with her, which we did sometimes, and then there's plenty of nights where like I was home early or just we weren't hanging out and between like 8 and 10 p.m. I'm working on music or working
Yeah.
on or learning Ableton or learning how to make loops. And that lasted for 2 years, and then I started getting a following on Twitter, and then people started wanting loops from me, and then I started doing engagement. Like it just was a process that happened over time, but it was a lot of just me making beats, putting them on SoundCloud, making little animation edits, like for like my favorite TV shows and stuff back in the day with my beats, and just putting them on Instagram and just seeing if and never selling anything, just sharing it, right?
Yeah.
Nobody ever wanted to buy anything, obviously, at first. And it was just kind of cool stuff that people interacted with and liked. And then over time, it was like, oh, you do guitar loops. Oh, you give them away for free. Oh, can you make them in this style? Oh, can you do this? And like the business generated itself over time naturally. It wasn't ever this thing where I just joined Twitter and I was like, pay me money for what I do. Like it was like hey, do you guys want guitar loops? Okay, cool. I got free ones, right? And then, oh, you
Yeah,
want more? Like I have a pack of 50 for like 20 bucks or 30 bucks or whatever. And that's when it started. And then the customs and then the mixing work and then COVID. And so just people sitting at home with money. And it's been 4 years somehow since all of that's happened, right? So
and
we're still here and we're still pushing and figuring it out and finding the next thing and what makes sense and what's the best business decisions for us. But it takes time. Like there's no
yeah,
college degree for this. There's no roadmap to success for music. There's just make music and see what happens, right? But it's never the
yeah.
other way around. You come into this and you're a marketer who decides that he wants to make music. That usually doesn't translate. If you're a musician who's like, how do I market myself? That'll work because there's a product that you're leading with. But if you're just leading with, let me get you sales or let me sell you something and you don't really care about it, that's not going to last.
No, you might as well make AI music.
Which some people do.
I have yet to hear an AI song. I don't think I want to.
My friends would make content like that just for fun. Like they would
Yeah.
do stuff that's like, oh, Drake AI song, right? And like just tell the AI to make the beat and write the lyrics and then put it with the Drake voice over it. But they still had to do the work for that, you know? So,
Oh no, there's definitely work that goes into it.
but when it's all fake, when you don't have to write anymore and you just let Chat GBT do it and you throw it into a thing that sounds like Drake, that's crazy.
If you're just typing down ideas
Mhm.
and not having them come to fruition yourself, you're
Yeah.
I think
And you're having to
we're losing imagination.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the whole other part of the conversation where it's tough because it's like then there's no creation at all. It's just you're prompting a computer to do something where yes, the initial thought is yours, but the creation of the idea through your fingertips isn't happening anymore.
No, and you lose that sense of touch and feel, right? I think it all goes into our senses, especially with music.
Mhm.
We're feeling, we're touching, sensing, or
Yeah,
it's just
for sure. That's a real thing.
something lost when it's just I'm gonna type 4496 hip hop.
The style, hip hop, Travis Scott, Drake lyrics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard the name Travis Scott. I haven't really listened to the music from. I'll say from the time 2007 to now. Now I haven't really listened to radio.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a lot of radio anymore for me. It's a lot of streaming or whatever. Like maybe my sisters will be listening to or something. But for the most part, yeah, it's whatever I come across or like keep up with on socials, as far as
Mhm.
releases, but not too much. I mean, Travis Scott is big, but he's somebody I was probably more into in like 2018, to be honest, anyways. But maybe to 2020. But is there anything else you want to share with people before we wrap up and get going? Just changing topic real quick.
No, I
The
mean,
project in August. I don't know if you have a name that you want to release or
I
anything.
I don't have a name yet. I just know I'm releasing
Halfway
it on my
through.
44th birthday, August
Okay.
12th.
Okay.
I'm doing a Bandcamp live release,
There you
and
go.
streaming on different platforms as well
Yeah.
at the same time, just for a little album release party. Uh, I plan on hopefully I'll have physical copies by then,
Mhm,
so I can do like a giveaway
mhm.
of different things.
And you have your
Uh,
show 3 nights a week.
yes, yeah, and then I do Sunday Night Vibes. It's 8 p.m. Eastern
Okay.
on like YouTube, Kick, Twitch. I stream to different platforms now. Um, and then Tuesday and Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern, I do Bandcamp only
Okay.
songs, just to spotlight all the Bandcamp indie artists
Nice.
and make sure we can get like direct consumer to
Cool. All right, man. Well, sounds
consumer to supplier. I don't know what the terms are.
is it direct to consumer?
Thank you. That's the word. That's the term I was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that sounds good, man. You got a lot of stuff going on, and you got the new job coming up too. So congrats on
Yeah,
that
thank you.
whole time change thing and work schedule thing. I'm sure you'll figure it all out. So don't put too much pressure on yourself to perform super high level when you got a big change going. So like
For
you're
sure.
not gonna but I'm sure the project will come out, and when it comes out, and it'll be good. And and we're all looking forward to it. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you, time and effort, and
Well, thank you.
yeah,
I appreciate you having me on. This is fun.
yeah. No, I enjoyed it, and I'm sure we'll do it again. I'm sure we'll be talking. I'm sure I'll see you out there. But like I said,
Absolutely.
everyone, I'll see you on the town line. Maybe a little less right now than I was before, but I'm sure I'll see you out there. And I do appreciate all the support that you've given me and trusting me with the art and stuff with the future and everything. So that was awesome, man. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm just happy that you're pretty much the catalyst into my Twitter journey,
I
because
never thought about it
the
that way.
first one, and I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I was like, okay, this guy's got a big following.
Well,
There's
yeah,
something,
I mean, it's
right?
kind of like an
That initial
empty,
thought was
yeah,
there,
yeah.
and then once you learn everything, sorry, hitting my mic. Uh, it's like that's not
No,
what it's about.
yeah, it helps for sure. It gets
Yeah,
weirder, but at the end of the day, like it starts with, I mean, in this case, right, started with the business relationship first, and then it's, other things come about through those things. But
for
there's
sure.
always going to be support, when I feel people are genuine, kind-hearted people that are just doing their best to make it happen themselves, because I feel it, because we're all in this together, right? So
Right.
yeah, I appreciate you being on and sharing your story, man. Very interesting. Didn't know. I'm sure people learned a lot. So thanks.
I
Thanks.
hope so. And you need me to elaborate on anything in the future, I'll be happy to come back.
Yeah, and I'm sure people are gonna have questions and insights into things too. So it's cool to see, other people's perspectives on the people that I interview. So I'm excited. I'm excited to put it out. I'll let you know when it's coming out. Um, you're the first one from this next run of them, so I'm sure sooner than later. So not too long.
Nice.
But I appreciate it, man. Thanks for being on.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. I'll be seeing you around.
For sure. You take care of yourself.
You, man. Later.
Peace.
Oops. Wait.